Hey guys and gals, I'm going to talk about some of the recent news that's happened. I'm glad that despite this COVID things and certain tensions across the country, living in the United States, if you're watching this out of country, but let me see, I'm sorry that my shirt is folded. Um, I hate when I lose my train of thought. I guess I was going to say that haven't posted a video. Really, the truth of it is, it's just things happen. My schedule is flipping and flopping, and if you happen to hear anything in the background, that's the dog crouping. Unfortunately, he's got a trachea problem. Uh, so, uh, I was going to say, I know I was going to say that despite P3 being canceled, there was still plenty of game news to come out. I mean, businesses keep going, people, excuse me, need to keep developing. Um, Also, if my hair happens to look wet, it's because I just came out of the shower and I'm like, you know what? I keep delaying this video and I've been wanting to make it so bad, and I just haven't got around to it because of this and that. Every time I had some time, I ended up feeling tired, and I don't want to be here like this the whole time. And it was just, and then I can't think it as it is, so being tired just makes it worse. Um, but there was a lot of good news to come out. I don't know if you've been following. There's been plenty of games, plenty of big games. Um, let's see. I know, of course, some neat-looking digital games were, but I recently released. But I mean, The Last of Us 2 was recently released. I have mixed feelings about it. I still have to play the first one. I hear it's a great game, but uh, there was a bunch of other news. I understand that Cyberpunk got pushed back. That's fine. I always say it's better to have something good than something bad. Um, but the big thing for me is oh, we got a friend here. You can't see it, but it's my dog. My dog Parker that wants lots of attention. He loves attention. That's fine. This dog is amazing for certain people. He's very affectionate. Um, uh, but the problem is sometimes he gets too close to you, like you'll trip on him and stuff. But he's a great dog. He's he's harmless too. Um, very harmless. But anyway, sorry about that. So anyway, there's been a bunch of good news to come out, and I've seen some of the games. Of course, the biggest news to me is the PS5, and I think that's big, especially when people, especially PlayStation fans, were waiting for that. And of course, the gaming community was, they've been silent on it. We knew it was coming. Everybody figured it was going to come out the same time as the Xbox Series X. Um, and sure enough, it's going to be out holiday at that time. So it's going to be a big year again for gaming. You know, some people are going to go for the PlayStation 5, others going to go for the Xbox. Personally, I'm a fan of the Xbox controller, but I could easily go for both systems, hands down. No questions asked. Um, so if you got to look at it, we'll maybe talk about this before. Uh, you can see it generally looks the same with the disc version is going to come out, and a digital version is going to come out later. Um, they generally look the same. I'm sure that one disc version is a little bit heavier, but it looks pretty cool. I do like the design for the most part. The controller represents a PS4 controller a little bit, but it looks a bit different, so maybe they'll talk more about it. But so far, as of yet, there hasn't been any price or release date. I'm going to guess is going to come around, probably around the same time as the Xbox, even later before, regardless of what time it comes out. It's going to be a big contender. Of course, Xbox, or I should say Microsoft, really has to be on the game this holiday season. But either way, people are they're gonna buy what they're gonna buy, and there's gonna be those scalpers. But I'm sure some of you know that about that. So that was really the biggest reveal, and that's a whole nother topic because this whole digital gaming thing, and me and my friend, we always get in debates, and I'm like, hey, I'm wondering if maybe this is a trend, it's going to be a digital version and a disc version, but you know, I I just don't see the. I mean, if it happens, I'm going to let the consumers decide that if they want to go digital. But there's no, it just doesn't feel like there's any benefit and to the consumer really, other than convenience. I mean, I went to buy, you know, the other day I was looking at a game, in fact, a Resident Evil game, and I'm like, wait a second, I never got the uh, Resident Evil 7 Gold Edition or something. And GameStop it's $20, but the digital version it's $50. So you know what I mean? Like, but anyway, that's a whole other topic. Something that a lot of some research. I really want to do some research into it, but I really want to get opinions of people who are qualified, I feel, who have the experience to really weigh in on that topic, because it's going to be a little bit of a subject. Uh, but so anyway, um, some other big news, and it's all very big. It just depends on the gamer. But for me, um, uh, it was Resident Evil, and of course I'm a huge fan of Resident Evil. And what's funny is that if I play generally, generally like any Resident Evil game, uh, the only game I shouldn't say I really didn't like, I just didn't get really into was Gaiden on the Game Boy Color. But it like even that I could probably get into, and but most of the other games I've got into, I still have to play the Outbreak series, and I've heard some people say they were good, but I never played them because I thought they were, because I understand they're multiplayer only, but I guess you can play single player. I've watched people play it. It's not like it's kind of broken with as you say, the AI isn't the best. But I'd still like to play it since it's an experience that I haven't played yet. Um, so it'd be cool if they re-release those. Actually, that's a well, whatever. Um, by now, let's get into Resident Evil. You probably have seen the trailer. I don't know if I should outline the trailer here, but it starts off like I have a description with his wife Mia, just as things just go. Chris shows up to horribly disrupt their lives. This is a description from what do I have? GamingSoon.net or something. Uh, Basically, I'll tell it to you because if I remember, what the video opens up, Mia's. We believe it's. There's been some. I've watched a couple videos, and some people. I'm not sure if it's Mia, but I'm pretty sure it's Mia that's talking. She's reading this creepy poem about a little child, a little girl. It's in the forest who gets lost, and then you see a bunch of random pictures, random sequences, and events, and then Chris shows up, and he basically puts 5 rounds in Mia's already dead body, or something that's shot. So this is obviously a big controversy because, well, obviously it makes it look bad, but the video starts with the line, and if you obviously haven't watched it, uh, you need to watch it. Um, but the video starts. Hold on a second here. Now, these are notes here. Um, Oh, yeah, I didn't mention the things about the PS5. All right, so according to Games Radar, I always like to give credit to where it's due. I mean, it's so out there that I guess you could really come up with it yourself. But it has a DualSense controller. I'm sorry, I'm going back to the PS5 news. I apologize. Uh, I just kept it brief and I forgot I wrote these things down. It's going to use the Unreal Engine 5. It's going to apparently have photorealism in Call of Duty. Uh, Call of Duty gone? Yeah. Anyway, it's going to have PS4 backwards compatibility. Now, I don't know if that's going to be full compatibility, honestly, because I read somewhere that it demanded that the newest PS5 games were going to be backwards compatible. Or not PS5, but PS4 games are going to be backwards compatible with PS5. Obviously, I mean that makes a lot of sense. If you can't get the latest PS4 games if they're not on the PS5, so you need to be able to play them. And then it has SSD storage, uh, support for PSVR, bunch of new accessories um, for the console. Let's see, HD camera, wireless headset, uh, controller charging station. That'll come in handy. Um, like I said, no final date. And my speculation just on that subject for the price is I'm going to turn the fan on real quick, $400 to $500. Thank you. And like I said, I'm going to guess $400 to $500 because that seems to be the going rate. The Xbox One X, I guess, came out. That came out for $500, and I'm assuming that it sold, but I don't know how very well because then sometime later, I don't know how many. It wasn't. I don't think it was a year, but it lowered to $400. And he's saying hi again. Hello, hello. I know. You love attention. You need lots of attention. Um, so that's my speculation on that. Sorry about the dog again. Normally, my friend is here, and the dogs follow him around, so they don't come to me that often. Uh, but where do I have? Okay, so that's generally it on the rest of that. And let's see, why do I have to pause this again? I don't know. This is what you get for writing your notes like randomly. I just hate wasting paper. So it might have the notes somewhere else, which for me that shouldn't. Okay, here we are at the end here. Go figure. And then let's see. Just leave it there because I'll have to switch back and forth as to where because I started writing notes on the first page and then decided that I was going to write them somewhere else. And like I said, because what happened was a friend of mine's daughter wrote in here, and because she put these little drawings in here, like, as you can see, like this here, I didn't feel like wasting paper over that. So that's why I have the notes written in two different places. Um, but, alright. So anyway, I'm sorry about that. But the video starts off as his story comes to a close. I'm sure you've heard of that, and I'm sure you've seen it by now. And this, of course, leaves a lot of speculation, like okay, this either means Chris or it means Ethan. And when a teaser trailer, I guess, showed up with Chris with blood on his face, which to me looked a little black colored like that. I don't know what you call it from Resident Evil 7, but it looks, it's like some kind of tar looking powder. It looks like tar, but it's like some kind of powder that the little girl had. I don't know, it could have just been regular blood. But, so there's speculation to this, and I have down here, because what happens at the end of 7 is Blue Umbrella, they call it, shows up. So either it's he either works for Umbrella or it's a task force that he puts. I don't know why he'd keep an umbrella, but it doesn't make him look good. So there's been speculation as this is the end of Chris' story. Personally, I don't think that's a good idea, but it could be. I shouldn't say it could be a good idea, but I'm saying that you know it might be a bad idea to kill off a long-time character, especially because, in my opinion, too, that I haven't heard that, in my opinion, is that his sister has played a big role as well. So then, they might have to do something with her as well. Um, so, um, so there's been speculation on that and the fact that he kills Ethan's wife. Now, here's what I'll tell you, what I believe. Um, I'm going to be reading off this list because then I'm going to look at it and keep going back, and I'm going to be back and forth. And it's going to sound awful, but this way I'm not, jumping all over. But my theory is it's Ethan. I say this because Ethan's, barely a character in the story. Now, I could be very wrong, because it could be Chris. But to me, I don't see why they would kill off Chris as a longtime character. And as I said, his sister, she plays a vital role in it as well. And I don't think that would be a good idea for me. Maybe this isn't the best comparison, but to me, it'd be like permanently killing off the Joker from the Batman series. Maybe I'm wrong, or maybe it's not the best comparison, but I don't think it's a good move. I don't also think it makes sense, although it could. But I'm going to say it's Ethan, and I'm also going to say that if you remember from Resident Evil 7, his wife Mia, she has that virus, whatever, that black stuff, uh, that I forget the name of it, but she kind of has some of that, I believe, in her, and that would explain why Chris just kills her. He's basically like an anti-hero. Um, Now I have here, and by the way, the little girl she was talking about, either could be their daughter or their child if you see them holding a baby, or it could be a little girl that is from Resident Evil 7, which is what I believe. Could I be wrong? I could be very wrong. Um, Notice they use a symbol, and they said they didn't want to show it, but it has a baby in it. But maybe it has something to do with the baby. That's what I'm believing. Let's see. Fairy tale, Emily, who was looking, the fairy tale could be referring to Emily, who was looking for her father. That's something to consider, because the little girl in the fairy tale was looking for her father. Emily is telling the tale of a poem. Um, oh yeah, somebody had pointed out, I watched the trailer that in the beginning he gets shot, and it's like nothing. And they're wondering, the speculation is, does he have the virus? Because you notice he doesn't flinch, he doesn't do anything. And they were saying, if you remember, he lost his hand and he was fine. And somehow, just reattached it. So there's speculation that he has it as well. So that's another reason why Ethan's story could end. But let's see. Werewolf grabs old man. That's what it looks like from the trailer. Now I'm reading these things off. The symbol, which looks like RE7 a lot. That's something. It has that like the circle with it and that thing in the middle. Um, this is where I'm going to get into uh, some RE4 things that look alike later on. But the castle looks like Salazar. Uh, front door is a well. Certain pieces point to RE4 parts. And there's the parents. The witch, the baby. They would explain why they didn't want to list the baby there. Like I said, with the symbol, and the puzzles look like RE4. This is at least what discussion I'm getting to shortly. Um, yeah, I noticed the werewolves look like they're from RE4. They look like some. I have just random notes here. I'm sorry. Roman numerals. I don't even remember what I was thinking. Um, Alright, and basically, I'm sorry, I'm trying to think what I wrote down and but that's a couple things that already point to RE4 that people have been noticing. I'm going to pause it. Alright, I'm back. Sorry about that. You guys probably don't even notice it because it's right away. But now, I'm sorry I wrote everything, just jotted down notes, because a lot of times I do that instead of writing a big summary, because it's a lot quicker that way. Um, Plus, they don't always see like everything I wrote, and it just looks to me like like I'm just blabbing on. So I just write short notes. Now, according to Games Radar, I have the witches. If you remember, there's a witch in the because it looks like there's nastily. This is graphic video, but they're sucking blood from Nathan. Of course, he loses his hand again. He has a tendency to do that. But the inner circle they had looks like Resident Evil 4 Lost Plagueis and Roman Cesar's Verdugas bodyguards. They have Louis Sierra, the flamboyant doctor from Resident Evil 4, apparently shows up, and they're wondering if he's going to be around. I have something else right here. I'm not going to say that because it's going to be for a little bit later. The inventory system, because you can see that's a nod to RE4. And if you remember, the RE4, the um, what they call that, Tetris inventory. I don't know if they'll have that now, but he shows up. If you remember, he shows up in the window, and if you remember from the game, uh, you see him. Excuse me, I'm just looking through my notes again. Of course, um, you see him like go past the window, like something kind of creepy because he does it real quick, and then you go a little further along. Or I remember when you were in this building, you see him pass the window, and I think when you come out, you walk up to the guy, and of course, this famous line, "What you buying and what you selling," became a thing for him. So a lot of people, that's funny that a lot of people remember him from the Resident Evil franchise. There's always a lot of jokes about him, you know. But I have here, and I might have um, went through some videos and pointed out that these, it basically, I don't know what you would call it. It's not technically RE4, but in a way it's a reimagining of it, you know. I guess you can't really call it a remake. Uh, that's happened a lot of times in games. I remember apparently that's what I read the description of Super Contra. That's supposedly what it was, but you know, in a way. Um, so I'm wondering if it's a loose reimagining of RE4. Because the puzzles, I watched some videos that people had pointed out. They look like Salazar's. Uh, Louis Sierra, possible. He was the doctor in RE4. Supposedly he died. I remember he died, and it's been a little bit since I played the game, but I did play it finally. I know years later. It's funny because people were saying it was always a great game, and I ended up playing it later, but it is good. I did enjoy it. I could see why people loved it. Um, but yeah, he dies in the game, and apparently might show up. But I also have here in the notes, forgive me for looking at the notes the whole time, but the Witch's Inner Circle looks like Lost Plagueis. Uh, the inventory system I mentioned earlier, it looks familiar. And what do I have? Oh yeah, the seller, the what you buying, what you selling guy. And I noticed, I wanted to save the best for second last, but I noticed the werewolves looked a lot like the El Giant guy, you know, that boss that you fight first single and then double. They look a lot like him. If I've noticed, and no one mentioned that, at least that I've seen, but I've noticed a similarity with that, and it looks like they just, you know, made him different, gave him a black skin and made him werewolves this time. Um, and finally, if a lot of you noticed in the corner, there's a lei, L-E-I. Uh, so there's going to be apparently a monetary system, um, which I mean, uh, what was the main points? You had a way to buy stuff, and I think it was through points. So this would just, and this wouldn't surprise me. This would just take care of the point system instead of money. You would have points because obviously you had to buy and sell from the seller something. So I thought it was points uh, because you would think it would be money, but obviously people are pointing it out, and many of the big uh, game companies, you know, I mean, game news companies are pointing it out. I guess, you know, that wasn't the way. Because I was thinking, well, wasn't there money before? Because I remember thinking, oh, I remember buying and selling in the game, and it could be points. And I'm like, well, maybe it was the points, because it wouldn't make sense why they're like, oh, well, it has money, unless I'm missing something, unless you know, unless it was a money system and they're just pointing it out. But I thought it would. I thought they pointed it out because it was new. Because you know, obviously you need to buy and sell, and I thought it was money, but maybe I'm wrong, because I don't remember honestly. Uh, maybe I should have looked that up, but I thought the reason they pointed that out was because they thought maybe, unless they feel it's more of an extensive money system than the first time around, um, you know, it's a little bit different this time, you know. So that's the last thing I wanted to point out about the game. Essentially, it's a reimagining of RE4, I guess, because there's so many similarities to the RE game, and it's funny that I mean that's what they would be moving in if you go 2, 3 with these remasters, and technically 4, and you know hopefully they'll we'll see about 5 and 6 what they plan on doing, but they had mentioned before that they weren't going to remake 4, 5, or 6, so I mean. You could do a reimagining of it. It probably wouldn't be any different. Um, you know, it would be a whole new game, really. Um, But still, all in all, this is exciting news for someone like myself. Uh, I might do a pickup video, but anyway, I ended up, excuse me, I ended up getting, I've been wanting to play some, and this is totally off the topic. So if, well, I guess not. I mean, it is off the topic, but I mean, I guess if that's all you're interested in, I'm just going to blab on about the pickup. But I was just going to say in a nutshell that, I did get, I've been wanting to play Mario 64, and I was like, well, I could play it on the DS, and the reason I want to play it on the DS is because sometimes, there's some downtime where I work, and I need to entertain myself because I get bored, and we have that option to play a game if we want. And I was thinking, well, I want to play the DS because sometimes I'm in the mood for like Mario, and with the DS or DS Lite, I can play most of the Mario games because it has a Game Boy slot. Um, and then plus I could play the DS games, including Resident Evil or New Super Mario Brothers, or there's a bunch of other good games on it. And turns out when I went to, I'll probably make a pickup video later about it, but went to the pawn store, there was a copy of it there, and it's still, I guess it's still selling pretty. I guess it's, I don't know, limited run or whatever, because it was still $35 after all these years. And I remember asking years and years, places. I shouldn't say all the time, but I'd be like, hey, I'd go through the DS games, and or I've noticed a lot of times there would be like a Resident Evil. I'm sure it was around here and there once in a while, but I noticed it was never around that often. And I thought, hey, it's pretty popular. It should be around, but I guess I don't know. It's still considered collectors at this point. It should be. If it's still $35, but it came out in '06. I remember playing it on the DS, and I decided at the time I didn't want it. Now, looking back, I kind of wish I didn't give it away as I did, but I did. I gave it to a friend's kid, and of course he loved it. And I'm thinking to myself, man, I kind of wish I would have, it was still in my infancy about game collecting, uh, but I kind of wish I would have kept it because that's the most comfortable for my hands. My hands aren't very big, but as you can see, I got small little hands. But still, it's better on the hands and it's not as clamped. But the DS Lite is okay. Um, it's not bad. But yeah, I got that. Um, and then so now I'm able to play Resident Evil, and I love how it's just DS. They call it Deadly Silence, and I'm thrilled about that, honestly. Um, so this coming from a Resident Evil fan, I'm thrilled about that. I don't even know why. Just saying about how great that is. I also got some other stuff, but I might do a pickup video later. But I'm thrilled to be able to finally play Mario 64 DS because I love Mario 64. And so it's, you know, and I was saying that because it's portable, and I wanted to get a DS Lite because of that. Now, I got a 3DS, and I was having some problems with it, um, but I'm gonna take it to the store and see if I can switch. But there's some great games on the 3DS. I know I played Resident Evil Revelations, and I thought it was actually really good. Um, I like how it goes in episodes, but there's some other games on there. I'm curious if they're good. Um, but anyway, go leave it to Nintendo to make awesome handhelds because they've been doing it since the late '80s. So they've had a market hold. Anyway, I'm getting off subject here. Sorry about that. I wanted to, besides talk about my love for Resident Evil, I wanted to say one more thing, and that was that I saw Rogue Squadrons is coming out, and I'm like, huh, probably not as exciting as I think, but still, it might be promising. And I was a big fan of the Rogue Squadron games, the one on the 64, the two on the GameCube. Especially loved the Rogue Squadron 2, and especially loved that game. And it was a great game, and it still holds up to this day. Glad that was one of the release titles, because I remember getting the GameCube, and believe it or not, it's not that the system was bad. It's just that there wasn't very many games out, so I lost a lot of interest in it, and I didn't play it. And I feel that I know it was only $200, but I feel it was a wasted $200. Nice, the dog farted. Huh. I always got a fart in my room. Sorry. Anyway, I don't feel that the GameCube was a waste of $200. What I feel like, because everyone, always putting words in my mouth. Oh, you think the GameCube is terrible? No, blah, 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 blah. Everyone's always doing that, always, assuming or putting words in my mouth or something. Everyone just flies off the handle about, like just automatically. I just think it's one of those, they feel like they're being attacked. And so let me reiterate, the GameCube wasn't a waste of $200. I just feel that I wasted $200 because I jumped the gun on it. Um, I feel that, in retrospect, I wish I would have waited and never bought the GameCube because I never really played it that much. And, years later, literally, it was like, oh, this is actually a good system. And it was like, when it was only $30. So I ended up wasting that money on something that I never really played. I will say that it's mine originally, but, like I said, um, it ended up wasting that money. And of course, getting on a tangent here, I always do that. I always get off the subject. But like I said, I just wanted to say that the GameCube isn't a waste of money because someone's going to watch this and go, he hates the GameCube, this GameCube's a great system, blah, blah. But anyway, because I know one time I did that in the forum, and then of course this one guy started attacking me. It's like, did you even read what I said? But whatever, it's just how people are. You just can't win. Um, but anyway, I was saying that because I loved Rogue Squadron 2, and regardless of the fact that I spent money and later regretted it, at least that made it, worth the $200. It really was. When there's a great game like that, that you can put a lot of time into, because I thought it was a great game. Um, you know, maybe not a lot of time, but still it's got a lot of replay value because it's fun. Um, it was still at least essentially made it worth it. I didn't totally waste $200. That it didn't have any games on it. I think now my mentality is different. That to get your money's worth, you shouldn't do the mistake that I made and buy the system and wait until wait some time until there's a library on it and there's some good games. You literally have to make your money's worth it. You have to go, you literally have to like buy games for it, and like even games that you might not even be totally interested in, like some sports titles or something, you know just so you have something to play and it really justify the costs of it. But usually, now there's like one game that'll come out, like, Call of Duty or something, where people just, it justifies the cost because you're getting a lot of game time out of it um, with the multiplayer, at least on that aspect. Something that would just justify the cost. Other than that, I always tell people it's just best to wait, until there's a library of games on it that makes buying it makes sense. And also because a lot of times, like now, there's bugs and things like that, and it's just, and by the time there's a library on it, they release 2 or 3 different types of consoles with the same hardware or the same games, but maybe, like the Xbox One, the Xbox X, the S, and then the X. So, you know what I mean? It just it's just sometimes better to wait if it doesn't justify buying it right away. But I think some people too have to have the latest technology. But anyway, I'm getting off the subject again. The Rogue Squadron games I loved, and totally loved the first one. I think actually I think I played the first. I think I played Rogue Squadron. I thought I played Rogue Squadron on the 64 before I played Rogue Squadron 2. But anyway, I think I might have, if I remember, I played it after, and even though it seemed a tad choppy, it was still a great game. I still actually enjoyed it. So it was a great game, and I was like, wow, I'm glad I went back. But anyway, I loved Rogue Squadron 2, and I figured, you know what, Rogue Squadron is going to be, it's kind of promising. Sit back, you don't mind. And then when I see the trailer, you see, like, at the end of it, like, two groups of 5 people, and I'm like, well, I think it's safe to say it's a multiplayer, because, that would uh, explain when the squadrons are, so that, you know. But it still might be alright. Still worth checking out, since I do love the space combat part of the Star Wars universe. So, still might be worth looking at. And it still might be worth trying. Because I do remember Battlefront 2, I played, what was it? Strongest ship of them all. And I ended up enjoying it. It was a good game. So, um, but yeah, I ended up enjoying that game. At least the space part. There's so many great games. I can't even sit and play them all. Um, but yeah, that part was fun. I really enjoyed that. So, Squadrons actually might be a fun game for me, even if it's not a single player. They also might have a single player mode, like they do with the World of Tanks, the World of Warships, and I assume the World of Warplanes games as well. So I was hoping for a single player game, but I had a feeling. I wasn't quite sure what to expect, to be honest. And I'm like, oh, well, once they showed the dark side and they showed the resistance, I'm like, it's probably going to be multiplayer. And sure enough, it was. And I know I found out later, but I just kind of guessed it because, I mean, you see the two groups of 5 walking, and then squadrons plural, so it's like it's probably multiplayer. But still, I have hope for it because I think it might be a fun game. It might definitely be worth it. Um, so, um, yeah, I mean, that's generally it for the news. Of course, there's other things. There's so many things to discuss. So many bits of news that came out. So many game trailers. I'm thinking about doing a video soon about you know the disparage between the Xbox One X and I shouldn't say the One X, but the Series X and the PS5. And, I guess I'll get into that soon because it really bothers me a tad. But maybe I guess I might be looking into it too deep, but I don't know, it just doesn't feel that way. So I look forward to that if you want to hear me. Well, that's what I'm good at anyway. But anyway, make sure, I didn't say my line about if you're new here, subscribe. You see other people say that. It's a smart idea, but make sure to subscribe. Uh, Rate and comment, as they say. I really love to hear comments. Um, but I hope you enjoy some of the news. I hope you enjoyed Resident Evil trailer as I did, and how excited I am. And, it's also coming out next year. Uh, so, yeah, I guess technically that would mean unless it doesn't come out on the unless it comes out on both the PS4 and the PS5, we'll see. But so, um, yeah, that's it. Like I said, if you want to look into, I can't think of any others. I think Kotaku is another one, but I usually see IGN or GameSpot. If you want to look at those websites and see all the good stuff that they can, obviously cover a lot more than I can. But the other thing too is I obviously pick and choose what I want to talk about because I don't have the luxury of being able to cover every subject. or even even if I tried to, it would be fun to a degree, but it would be physically, it would be very exhausting, and it would feel overwhelming because there's so many things coming out at so many times, so many details. So to a point, I would like it, but to a point, like I said, it would be really, really tiresome. Um, but I hope you enjoyed me talking and blubber on about what I love, and as you can see, I love any kind of video games. Even if I can't, I'll play them from any country. I don't care. But so I hope you enjoyed that talk. Like I said, again, rate. I don't even know if I need. Just subscribe, comment, rate. Everyone says give that video a thumbs up or whatever. It must help somehow. Um, so I hope you enjoyed this. I hope you enjoyed some of the news that came out. If you want to, comment, tell me what you're excited for. If you're excited about Resident Evil, excuse me, if you're a little disappointed about Cyberpunk being delayed, or other news that came out that you're excited for, because there's a bunch of good news. I know I saw a Gothic first-person shooter. I don't know if it's Hellslinger or whatever. So I'm a big fan of first-person shooters. So that looks like an interesting game. Um, so um, have a nice. I hope you enjoyed the news, and take care and have a nice night.